Good evening, sir. My doubt is, what is the right strategy for prelims 2022 in this last 3 months?
See, in this last 3 months, we have to divide it into 15 days. 15 days, 15 days, 15 days. Overall, it is going to be 6 sessions, 6 phases. In this 6 phase, you have to make history comfort in 15 days. In another 15 days, polity. In another 15 days, economy. In another 15 days, history. And that 15 days should be a revision type of thing. And parallelly, you have to do mocks also. So for that 15 days, you have to do sectional. So complete history question paper you have to solve. Complete polity question paper you have to solve. Complete economy paper you have to solve. By doing so, what will happen means you will get the command over the subject. And parallelly, when you come up, so for first 15 days, if you do polity, in the next 15 days, polity plus history. In the third, polity, history, economy. In the fourth, polity, history, geography. In that way, within 60 days, the 4 sessions or 4 sections, you are going to become very powerful. This is 50% of the time. Another 50% of the time, already you read it because you are ready for prelims. You have to do quick revision. Revision is very, very important. Very quick revision, for example, Indus Valley Civilization or Buddhism or Jainism. Very quick revision you have to do. So 50% of the time you are using for perfection. Another 50% of the time already which you read, you are doing revision. So by which what will happen, you will be getting the confidence that I am doing revision. At the same time on module base you are getting perfection. Daily 1 hour or 2 hours. CSAT you do. Daily 1 hour or 2 hours you do CSAT so that CSAT will not be a problem in your prelims examination. If I write the prelims examination, this would be my strategy.
Good evening, sir. Can you please explain the importance of current affairs for the prelims and mains for mostly prelims?
Suma, see, current affairs play a major role. Environment or geography or economy, science and technology, current affairs have enormous weightage. So what you have to do, for example, if this is 2022, June 2021 onwards, June 2021, July 2021, till May 2022, you have to cover this 12 months of current affairs. And total current affairs you should not read. With your friends or with your seniors, with your mentors, you have to categorize what are the important topics. For example, in a month, 50 topics will be very, very important. That 50 topics you have to emphasize more. So that means in 12 months, it is going to be 600 topics. Those 600 topics of current affairs you have to master. Then what happened? You can do properly prelims examination, and this you should not read like statistics. This you should not read like facts. This analysis oriented, background oriented, you should have the command on this current affairs. Then what will happen? In mains also this knowledge will be helpful and you can use it as example. So current affair, as you rightly said, it should be a integrated approach for prelims and mains. We should not see prelims separate and mains separate for current affairs. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Good evening, sir. My question is approach while doing the mocks. Subject-wise mocks are better or else full-length mock tests are better? Which one will you suggest for us?
Okay, Madhu. Mock tests play a major role. But nowadays what happened, overemphasis on mock tests are happening, that I will take this institute mock tests or this institute mock tests, I will read only mock tests. That is not the thing. First, you have to have the command over the subject. It might be ancient history or medieval or art and culture or modern India. You should have the command over the subject. Once you have the command over the subject, then you have to solve the mock test. What is the benefit of doing the mock test? Your performance, your evaluation will happen. How much you read. If you read 100%, then nothing should become wrong. So it's about evaluation. But what is happening means total dependence on mock test. Total dependence on mock test will not work. First, you should have a command over the subject. You should have a grip over the subject. Then you have to solve the papers. And I will recommend you, sectional wise test you do 10 and 20 comprehensive tests you have to do. Overall, if you do 30 mock tests, it's enough and more. It's a very good. And don't be in a myth that this institute test papers I will solve, 50 test papers I will solve, or 50, 60 test papers. Not like that. First, you should have the command, So please, you have to improve the command, then you have to solve the test paper so that your evaluation will be done. In that way you have to do. And the 30 mock test is the best approach with my experience.
Good evening, sir. So my question is, what are the general mistakes committed by serious aspirant in terms of prelims examination, sir?
The question is about mistakes. You know, when we want perfection, we should avoid mistakes. Errors we have to reduce. Why? Because these errors will result in negative marking. So how to avoid the mistakes? Number one, don't by heart. Don't go for rote learning. Don't try to remember anything. You have to understand the subject. This is the first thing you have to do in civil services examination. Number two, people will write mock tests, they will see their score and they will close the book. It should not be like that. Reverse engineering should be there. Why it became wrong? I read this. In spite I read this, but I could not solve this. Where I missed it. So next time I should not repeat the same mistake. So what I have to do? I have to do reverse engineering. So we have to sit 2 hours of examination and 2 hours of solution. Finding why it became wrong. That is the second big thing you have to do. So solving is not sufficient. Reverse engineering is also must necessary. And the third error is don't neglect CSAT. CSAT is playing a very big role. So CSAT is also very, very important. This is the third thing which I want to tell you. And fourth thing, don't blindly go with the mock test. Go with the mock test, but don't go blindly. As I told you earlier also, you have to get the command over the subject, you have to master the subject, then you have to solve the test papers. And the fifth, but not the least, last 3 months you have to sit for 10 hours. Last 3 months you have to sit for 10 hours, no compromise. Why? Because the competition is increasing. You have to sit and you have to work hard. Work hard is the only solution to win this examination. So these are the things which I want to tell you.
Good evening, sir. Sir, how previous year questions will help in prelims?
So see, previous year's questions play a very important role. Why? Because we are going to write the UPSC examination. How the questions are there in the previous years, in the same format we have to do. So I believe that previous year's question and UPSC syllabus is the Bible for us. First we have to go through the last 1 decade. Don't go beyond 1 decade. 1 decade is enough. Last 10 years question papers, you have to solve it. You have to go through it, and you should not just solve it. You have to sit on the paper and you have to understand why they asked it, what might be the reason behind it, why such questions are asked. So you have to understand the mindset of the preparator who is going to prepare the question paper. So by seeing the question paper, we can understand. For example, I will tell you, in 2017 prelims, there is one question on Maternity Benefit Amendment Act of 2016. Why they asked this question? Why? Because 2016 it got amended, because of which it is asked. Last year, 2021 prelims question, there is a question on committed judiciary. Committed judiciary, why they asked means Ranjan Gogoi was being criticized by media as committed judiciary, because of which they asked committed judiciary. So for every question which is asked in UPSC prelims examination, there is a current affair oriented. But how I understood? By seeing the previous year's questions. Oh, in that year that happened, so they asked this question. So in the same format, this year also we can predict the question paper. So what are all the major current events which happened in this year? Why? Because last year, previous years also they asked in the same format. Obviously they will ask in the same format. You know, UPSC examination is nothing. 1 to 100 is the previous year question. 101, 102, 103 is the current examination. So it is just an extension of previous year's question paper. It will be an extension of previous year's question. For example, in your academics, any question paper they asked, compulsory those questions will be according to the previous year's questions only. No, if not, the examination board or the university board will criticize the question paper preparator. Why you are asking such tough questions, or why you are asking out of the box? Why? Because they also have the rules and regulations. They should also ask the decade. Don't go too much also. Last 1 decade. But for history, art and culture questions, you can go up to 20 years. Other than that, last 10 years is enough. I hope I address your question.
Good evening, sir. What is the right approach for CSAT?
It's very important question, because I know my students who are in service but could not clear prelims because of CSAT. I know some students who went to UPSC interview, but because of CSAT in the last attempt they could not clear prelims examination. CSAT is equally important from last 3-4 years. So you should never neglect a CSAT examination. That too, in CSAT what we have to focus? In CSAT we have to focus comprehension passages. Most often the negative marking is from comprehension passages as well as English comprehension passages. So we have to emphasize more on comprehension as well as English comprehension passages. Second important point, what I want to tell you is, you see the length of the question. If the question length is more than 5 lines, leave it. Come down. It is a trap. In reading 5 lines, it will take 2-3 minutes. Understanding it, another 1 minute. Overall, you have 120 minutes. For 4 minutes only, understanding itself is taking, but it is only one question. So better the long questions you leave it, go for simple questions, small questions. At least you can stand there. Why? Because you will understand the question within 30 seconds. This is one of the big trap which I observed in the previous year's questions of CSAT 2021 and 2022. After one rotation of your question paper, in the second rotation you will come know when you are confident, yes, I solved 40 of the questions. In the second rotation, you can wait for the long questions. And if you see the question, it is somewhat tricky, don't go to that questions. The chance of negative marking will be very high. So first, in the first rotation of CSAT, you have to solve only those which are very appealing, approachable. The chance of getting right is 100%. So in the first round, you have to be very sure that out of 80 questions, 30, minimum 30 should be sure shot. So in the second round, after 1 hour, you have to go for the second round. In second round, little bit, 3-4 lines questions, little bit tricky type of questions are there. There you can sit for one more extra minute and you have to move on. So what will happen? 30 marks, 30 answers are correct. You are very damn sure. Then next 15 to 20 questions, you can make some bet. So that at least 40 are correct means there is a chance of clearing the examination is very high. Why? Because 2.5 marks, 40 into 2.5 means 100 marks. If 5 to 6 are wrong also, no problem, you will come somewhere around 80, but you have to cross only 66.6 marks. And one more thing I noticed, some overconfident students, what they are doing, I am crossing, when they think that I crossed 66.6, they are not attempting another answers. Don't do like that. Sometimes one question also will become negative means you might be on the border like 64 marks. You go safe side, you play up to 100. You go up to 100. You play the game till you cross the 100. When you are confident that I am going to cross 100, you can take it, okay, fine, I am clearing the prelims. But 60, 70 in your prelims examination,